Hello and welcome to Frank's School. 79th days of the third year. Well, on with the Advent Advent calendar. Joy to the world. Now, this for some of you, this may be the first Christmas hymn, Advent hymn that you actually know. I imagine everybody recognizes this. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing. And then I use this as a repeat mark, because this is repeated in the hymn. Now, let me first say something about the music. The melody, it says, was arranged by this man, 1792 to 1874. That would be, right at the end of the 18th century, after the 18th century. But the melody is attributed sometimes to George Frederick Handel. There's a connection there, and I'll explain to you what it is. Now, this melody interested me in school because when I would have a piano available and I'd want to show a student, well, he could play the piano, all he'd have to do is go down all the white keys, starting on the C above middle C, dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. But he had to do it she had to do it at the right rhythm to get joy to the world. It's simply the scale, the major scale coming down. That's what the melody is. Hi, Roger. You're usually not here. But anyway, how it's connected to Handel, or part of the suggestion, is that, well, glory to God, is the opening of a choral number, a movement in Handel's Messiah. So is lift up your heads, ye mighty gates. Well, see, the melody changes, but the melody starts with those dun 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 dun, dun, those four notes. Two places in Handel's oratorio Messiah. Also, the recitative, the tenor recitative at the beginning of the oratorio, every valley. Dun 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 dun. Repeat. No, that's not. I'm not getting that right. But anyway, this part here, and heaven and nature sing, dun 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 dun, is also at the beginning of the recitative, or the aria, the tenor aria at the beginning of Messiah. Well, that I learned about by looking at Wikipedia. But it also occurred to me that this is so like Handel in a way, because the part where and heaven and nature sing, where it divides into the women are singing that and the men are singing differently. It's almost not like a hymn, but like a performance. It's almost operatic. I shouldn't say that, but it looks like Handel. And also, repeat the sounding joy. In the second stanza, those are the words. And what happens? Well, it repeats. And it repeats several times. In the Baroque period, composers loved to do that. Handel loved to do that, to take the text and make it fit the music. A great example of that is in his oratorio Israel in Egypt, where he composes about the plague of the frogs, and he has the music sounding like frogs. That would be, for those of you that are curious, it would be worth looking for that. Or also the flies. Bzzz. He has the violins playing something practically impossible, I think in 3 flats, unbelievably fast, and it's supposed to be the buzzing of the flies. Well, anyway, that's a good bit about Handel. Handel was born in Germany, same year, 1685, I think, when Bach was born, but he came to England. So we're back in England now. If this is in German, and it probably is, it's now translated into German. It was originally English. Written by Isaac Watts. And there's when he lived. Now, Isaac Watts was a nonconformist. I looked that up as well. England was just ripped apart by religious fighting in the 17th century. This was right after that. The height of it was Cromwell. And it was bad. Not as bad as what happened in Germany in the 30 Years' War, but it was bad. And so I was looking into this nonconformist. That was anybody who did not go along with the strict observations of the Anglican Church. But I don't want to go into that. Anyway, he wrote many, many hymns, 750 hymns, I think, Cap. Don't you do that. So you're going to eat my flowers. Or knock them off the shelf. So Isaac Watts, now for a sentence, I'll erase the board and do a second shot. There's something very funny I find about this. I'm going to use, I can do it without a second shot if the cat will stay away from it. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Well, the way that is written, joy to the world is an interjection. There's no predication here, so it would just be joy. Joy, what kind of joy? To world. To world. The. Now you could say joy be to the world, joy come to the world, and say that it's understood, the verb. But the way it's punctuated there would be like that. And the Lord has come. Well, if you wanted to, you could say that because is understood. Because Lord is come. The. And you could say, well, because is just understood. But I don't think you have to. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Well, that's very easy to diagram, of course. But I wanted to point out that is. Wikipedia discusses it. They devote about a paragraph to the fact that this is not the Lord has come, which is what we would say in modern English. But we do it the way it would be said in German. Ist gekommen, is come. And it points out that back at that time, English, that was the more proper way to say it. And I hadn't thought about it, but in French, the same is true. In English, we use the verb to have as a helping verb. But when there's motion, it's often the verb to be in German and French as well. So I like the fact that there's that. If you go on Wikipedia and look up Joy to the World, you can read that in more detail. Now what's funny, I find, is that a guy named Harry Nillson, a singer, Harry Nillson, I think that's the way you spell his name. Anyway, he had a song that goes, joy to the world was a beautiful girl, but to me joy was only sorrow. And he goes on, it's a very funny, I find it so funny. Let me just go straight to diagramming that. Joy, joy to the world, to the world was a girl. You see, joy can be a girl's name. I said that I've got different viewers that are German, and I asked Shirley this morning, can Freude be a girl's name? And she didn't think so. Freude is the way you'd say that in German. She didn't think so in German, but in English, joy can be a girl's name. So now we're talking about a girl. Joy to the world was a beautiful girl. A beautiful girl. But joy was sorrow. Joy was sorrow. Was only, let's see, joy was, I think I'd say to me, put to me only. Joy to the world was a beautiful girl, but to me, joy was only sorrow. Well, and the song is funny for other reasons as well. This joy is going to make him her toy and take him for a joyride. My joy boy. I don't know. And his name is Roy. Roy, I'm going to make you my joy boy, or something like that. It's funny. But we have here, joy was sorrow. How can that be? How can joy be sorrow? They're opposites. That's called oxymoron, if you want to, when you've got things that are completely opposite jammed together. But you could also call that a paradox. A paradox. Anyway, I recommend it, and I'll in the description of this, I'll put a link so you can go straight to it. And if you don't know any Joy that's a beautiful girl, I'll give you a link for that too, because Joy Thomas Nillson sang. She's in my school. She sang for me. She was at least one of my all-time favorite students, and she sang for me. And I'll give you that link as well. Back when I was teaching about St. Francis of Assisi, so you'll get to see Joy as a beautiful girl. All right. Well, see you tomorrow.